Cinemahawk just resubscribed for 15 months.
LOL at my closed captioner yelling at me again. Hello everyone! It's time for a cosplay cosplay stream. You guys voted with your points to have a cosplay stream, and thank you to everyone who came onto my Twitter poll and voted for Mia Fey. And it's perfect because we're gonna play Ace Attorney, and Midna is trying to climb on top of me. Midna! She's so desperate for attention today. Yeah, okay, funny story about Mia Fey, cosplaying Mia Fey. I had to dig the costume out of, so the costume was in a closet, and then some of the jewelry pieces were like hidden in various places, and then I couldn't find the usual wig that I had for Mia Fey. I did have this brown wig that I'm wearing now. Midna, do you mind? I'm telling a story. I'm telling a story! And you're gonna be a menace on my desk, I just know it. Oh no! What'd you knock over? Anyway, my wig that I usually use is nowhere to be found. I don't know if Midna, please, I beg of you. Please, sweet kitty. I don't know if I threw it away because she had been well loved. I'd used that wig a lot, or if I just totally lost it and I don't know, it's buried somewhere that I didn't think of. So I just kind of found this brown wig that I had and cut bangs into, and I styled it really quick before stream to actually be like Mia's bangs, which are like the blunt bangs, and had to do the part and everything. I can restyle it, so it's good. But yeah, Mia Fey is my favorite Ace Attorney character. Obviously, what else would I cosplay her if she wasn't my favorite? Well, I guess people cosplay for a bunch of different reasons, but that's why I'm cosplaying her. Okay, Midna, you gotta work with me here. I have my little Magatama necklace. I really need a new chain for it because this chain is also very old. This costume is very well loved. I've had this for a couple years now, and I need to update it, honestly. But yeah, it's cosplay stream time. I'm super excited. And let's carry that excitement into me talking about the content and trigger warnings for Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, as we do every single time. Midna, you're gonna be kicked out of the room if you keep doing this. Oh, goodness. She's being such a brat today. Here are the trigger and content warnings. I'm also going to put them up on screen right now. So, blood and gore, visual and audio, gun violence, animal death, death and suicide, alcohol and substance abuse, domestic violence, self-harm, snakes, anxiety attacks, hospitals, bone breaking, hanging, suffocation, burial alive, anti-Semitism and xenophobia. I really don't know why that is such a thing in this one, but it really is. Fat jokes, and then flashing lights, shaky cam, and claustrophobic scenes. So most of those are attributed to the fact that it's a murder mystery game and we are solving deaths under mysterious circumstances, and there are murderers among us. Also, the flashing lights and shaky cam isn't too intense, but it does have some of those elements because of the visual novel style of Ace Attorney games. So just be aware of that if those are triggers for you. I'm going to put my headset on, which looks kind of funny. I'm going to be real with y'all. It looks pretty funny when I put it over my Mia wig. So Mia is going to have, oh gosh, it's not over my ear. So Mia is just going to have some green kitty ears tonight. And that's how it's going to be. I'm Mia Fey, y'all. I even did the beauty mark. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. I made it kind of small, but her beauty mark that she has. Okay, so let's get on to the game. I'm really excited because we are really approaching the thrilling finale of the first in the Great Ace Attorney trilogy. It's only 2 right now, I think. In the saga, in the era of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, ancestor to Phoenix Wright. Alright, so we are on episode 5, and we are in the middle of our court trial, and we've already had a couple back and forths with the jury. Oh, also, I forgot to say, Cinema Hawk. Thank you for the Prime sub, the Prime resub. I appreciate it. I did see it. I literally said I'm gonna mention this, and I almost forgot, but I didn't forget. Thank you. You're the best, and I appreciate you. Anyway, 17th of April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. It's gonna be kind of interesting that I'm dressed as Mia Fey, and I'm gonna be doing all these different voices. But you know what? I feel like Mia would do them. I feel like she would be the kind of, Mia is very quirky. Oh, also in honor of Maya Fey, I actually had a hamburger for dinner. Even though I know in the Japanese version it's actually like ramen or noodles, but I don't know if it's like ramen specifically, but I know there's like a noodles thing. But in the Americanized, westernized version, she loves hamburgers, so it's just kind of a funny little thing there. Gina, how are you holding up? Not great. That's probably not a good way to start. I'm starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now.
Jenny! Are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything?
I love Iris so much. She's so freaking cute. What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me?
What?
Well, you saw it, that picture. What picture? Ah, the picture of her holding the gun.
Ah, you mean this, the photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder. Well, I didn't think I would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure.
It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to court. Sure, you've got to have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. And I do. Because I know you've probably been put up to this by like some ne'er-do-well. Some probably McGilded who's faked his own death and...
Jenny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Bruno's cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you.
Alright then. Are we finally getting the truth? Where's my volume control? There it is. It was after we had dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. I need to like warm up my voice. I should have done some like vocal exercises before getting into this. But I was getting into cosplay. It's more important that way. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I sat down and went down the street to the 2-to-1 to Winterbank's place. Oh, I don't know if Iris's story was there or not. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing. But if you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like. Something what he don't want people reading. So that's why he lied to Iris about sticking it in log with Winterbank for safekeeping. At least, that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Winterbank's. I just had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all was going to kick off, did I? I struck the lock and stuck inside. It was dark as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp on the counter a bit of wick, and that's when... Oh god, that was Winterbank. A little too slow on the uptake there. Sorry, my bad. I nearly died, I did. The next thing I knew...
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
It's just really sad.
You just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Almost died! Yes. Liza, so true. So true. I nearly died, I did, and the next thing I knew... I grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving it in the air like I don't know what.
Ah, you're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery.
The manuscript. Have you got it in here? Did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story?
I beg your pardon.
The Hound of the something or other. If it's here, I want to see it.
I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What will I do with it anyway? I just want to say it's here, is all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned it here or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you?
Yeah, both of them were like a little too freely with the gun.
So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door, and we both went inside. And it was there all right, the manuscript. Sholmes weren't lying after all.
You did all that just to check for me, Ginny?
Anyway, then there was a bit of kick-up out in the main bit of shop.
The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene, yes.
What was that noise? Someone's breaking in! Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me. Sorry. I'd better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you and... No, don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of my hands and walked back out into the shop. I am back in the storeroom, like he said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got in a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see? So I was just about to go out to the storeroom myself when... Oh, that's not good. That's 2 shots. So 2 gunshots. I heard a couple of shots go off too, I think, almost at the same time. So wait, that would be... And then there he was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. So the first shot was... What was the first shot then? The first shot had to be... The first shot had to be the one that was into the calendar, and that's probably like a warning shot. That had to be like a warning shot from Windibank's gun, and then the second shot was the one that killed him. The third shot was the one that was in the little capsule thing that hit Sholmes' pocket, right? Like the one... Sorry, this corset is like... Please excuse me while I adjust. Please, Twitch, don't ban me. The third shot had to be the one that hit Sholmes. I'm trying to like remember what happened last time and also make sense of it and logic it through. Logic. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it quick as you like. Because you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windibank might come for you? Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew. You knew? Oh, you got a better look at Windibank. Windibank was a goner. Shot through the heart and into the storeroom. I felt funny in me head all of a sudden, kind of dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. That must be when you passed out, Gina.
I feel like she didn't just pass out. I think...
If I hadn't done what I'd done, the old cove might still be alive.
Did you tell the police everything you just told us?
Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me.
It'll be all right, Jenny. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer.
Rudo's about to put the real culprit through the mill.
Yeah, we are.
That cove what was there in the afternoon. That Egget Benedict.
All right, so we had just established that we needed to get this guy into court, but he has a fake name, and so we're gonna learn his real name in this one.
I still remember how he looked at me like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty.
You what? You can leave it all in Rudo's capable hands now, Jenny.
Mr. Nora Odo? Yes?
How come you trust me? I don't get it.
Because you're innocent. I mean, like, why not? I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGill did. We told you a whole pack of lies. And you got the bog trotted off with him, even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh, I did what I thought was best at the time, but the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what.
But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook for all you know.
I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who'd done it.
Oh, Rudo.
But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. Oh God, it's been so long since I've seen him. My best friend. Basically the equivalent of Mia Fey in this game, because he dies immediately. Ryunosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. I miss him so much! As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute unwavering belief in him. That's a little gay. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first.
What are you saying?
I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver and a no-good liar. You're not like McGill did. I know that.
That's right, you're all friend, Jenny.
Iris, we know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust.
Yes,
That's really all we need to know.
exactly.
Mr. Nora Odo, Oh, she's crying! Look at her! This is so cute!
The defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Oh, I love this theme so much. This is a banger, absolute banger of a theme. I'd been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last. The final chapter. The final battle. Wish me luck, Susato-san. And I hope you're watching over me too, partner. Why did he have to die? I'm so pissed that he's dead. I'm still pissed. I'm still bitter. I don't think I'll ever get over how... Like, I don't know. I feel like I guess I've never really got over Mia Fey's death either, but at least she, like, came back, you know, in spirit form. In spirit channeling form. Also, I can cope. I can huff my copium by cosplaying her. I'm gonna take a sip of my caffeine. Delicious. Good soup. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zeeks, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communication station. That's yeah, that's about how this German accent's gonna go today. Or this very, very poor excuse of a German accent is gonna go today. The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately, my lord. However, the heavy rain has delayed the arrival of his carriage, it would seem. I see. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's precis of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. That was really bad. I'm gonna have to get this one and get this accident in order too. And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom.
It's a big mistake to cross early in me. A very big mistake. My lord!
I'm sorry, I keep having like a little... I feel like there's a wig hair that's just like getting me on my cheek.
Oh goodness. The subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building.
Thank you, officer. Show him to the stand without delay. Mr. Eggert Benedict. If that is your real name, which it's not. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon, and certainly not like this. What a tableau of people on the stand there.
Thank you for complying with the court's subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord, as an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Ashley Graydon, Communications Officer. Mr. Graydon and I both work at London Central Communication Station. Now perhaps somebody would kindly explain what all this is about. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume. Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place at a pawnbroker's on Baker Street. And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation, indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know. Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath. Oh, how fabulous. Gladly, my lord, gladly. I love his, like, whatever the fuck he's doing. The accusation. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation, even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene. Some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? So you deny the accusation completely, do you? I must say I'm dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy. It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly! Oh my god, there's so many voices. How long am I expected to be detained here? If following defense's cross-examination your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good, then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least. Let us not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, Counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination. So, we meet again, Mr. Eggert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies. You are... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met. If you say so, Ashley Graydon, enchanté. So... Oh. Nice hair. I trust we can conclude this quickly. I swear to God, he looks like a gender-bent version of my Dungeons and Dragons character, just like a little bit, and he kind of has that like snobbiness to him as well. And it just, I don't care if anybody else agrees with me. It makes sense in my heart, and I'm going to go with it. But I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do. I can't wait to see his freak out on the stand. I bet he looks hilarious.
Hold it!
Yes, we even met in the very pawnbrokery where the crime took place on the afternoon of the day in question. Ooh, that was a long sentence. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. It was Mr. Eggert Benedict, I believe. Tell me, what made you...
Objection!
Rude. The witness is here to testify about the events that took place that night. He is under no obligation to answer such unrelated questions. You can't be serious. Yeah, you can't be serious. This is related. Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question. So he's going to be evasive, is he? In an effort not to give anything away. This could be tricky.
Hold it!
Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals. Said by a man who introduced himself as Eggert Benedict. A pun, which in and of itself is criminal. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? There's a young lawyer in there in the back. This is a farce! I should fabulously disagree. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in British court anyway? That's a little bit racist. Just a little. Just a little. Well, needless to say.
Hold it!
Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? This is past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these rapscallions. You're able to prove that? I like how they just, like, casually look away, like,
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend. For you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on the point. What do you mean? The witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. And if your accusation is that the witness is present at the scene, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. So we have to prove that he's... Wait, don't we have a fucking... Wait, hold on. Don't we have a literal picture that places him at the scene? Didn't we? I thought we did. Oh, shit. I don't think we do. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. So fabulous. A silent victory wiggle. My money don't jiggle jiggle.
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Oh, that's right. He was shot. He was the one that was shot. Mr. Sholm's chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such. But I'm not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be sure that the blood is mine? That could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholm's chemical is able to differentiate different blood samples by— Spare me the science lesson! Who is this Sholm's character, anyway? Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know the name. He's a a renowned detective. So even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? Now we're in the realm of fairy tales, are we? Oh, excuse me? Excuse me, you say? Give me 1 second, I need to text my mom. Boop. All done. Anyway, do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin? What? Me? That's not the voice. I gave them Brooklyn accents because it was like Grayson. No, the Mr. Skulkin next to you. Right, I've added up to... Gotta give him a Brooklyn accent. Right, I've had it up to here with this. How many times have I gotta tell you? Yes, I know. You're not Big Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin. Blimey, Governor, you what? Is it not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke, a thought went through your mind? Would you care to share that thought with the court? Me thoughts? I didn't have none of them. It must have been him. You what? Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke? Nothing, honest, Gov. Nothing. I was just thinking. If he waves his arms around that like much, he'll open up the wound again, that's all. What wound? Where he took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. I ain't gonna be healed up yet. So I was, well, you know, I was worrying for him and... Oh, Wales bells. You are terrible. Thank you, sir. Thank you for letting me know that, because that is very helpful information for me. That helps my case quite a bit, actually. Mr. Graydon, did you hear that? What? Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm. He took a bullet, didn't he? My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon. I've no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly, I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you'd allow a court official to examine your arm, sir. The left arm of that you're currently clasping with your right hand, as if in pain. No, I refuse. Pardon? You've shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obliged to permit any such invasion of my privacy. What a dick. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all of this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense to the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have had nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Winterbank's pawnbrokery. My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Mr. Graydon's formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon. So I do have the picture that puts in there? I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery establishment. No, but hold on. There's gotta be like a... The ticket has to put in... Photo of Gina. Post-shooting photograph. Media boxes. It has to be the ticket. It's a photograph. He's writing it out very neatly, but still he ran out of paper. It's hard to know what's the front and what's the reverse side now. Shit. I'll press him on
Hold it!
Never had anything to do with it. You forget that I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very afternoon of the incident. Obviously, I'm not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to finish my study.
Objection!
No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Excuse me.
Glad I pressed him, because... Do you have something to add, Inspector? Hey, come again, Sunshine? You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector? That afternoon. The cop was literally there! Well, yes, I do remember... Sorry. I do remember meeting yourself in the pawnbrokers that afternoon. You, your young Japanese assistant and the accused were all present, as I recall. And at that time, this witness, Mr. Graydon, was trying to acquire a particular article. Well now. I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly. What? But you must! I'm not gonna lie and pretend I remember something that I don't. What's going on here?
Grexy showed us a picture before, didn't he? You know, from the cameras that Hurley installed in Winterbanks.
Yes, of course. Oh! Okay, so yes, we did have a picture of him. I was wondering why that wasn't put into whatever.
Indeed, and the gentleman pictured bears a striking resemblance to the witness, I must say.
Exactly, which proves that Mr. Graydon was in the shop on the afternoon in question.
At no point have I denied that fact.
You just did.
I merely entered the shop to peruse the articles on sale and have a word with the broker. Nothing more.
He's pretty sussy. This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Graydon might be trying to cover his tracks. But why would Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? That's all he's going to say on the matter, is it?
What do you think, Rudo?
I think he has no intention of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has of giving himself away.
The complete opposite of Hurley, then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better.
Well, at least I managed to prize a little more information out. Oh my gosh. Prize a little more information from these witnesses' lips. All thanks to the Skulkin brothers.
Yes, they were the key to it after all.
So he says he had nothing to do with Winterbanks. Well, we know that's not true.
Perhaps now would be a good time to have a proper look through the court record.
Good idea. You never know what tiny scrap of information could become a valuable weapon. I guess they're like wink wink nudge nudge, look at the court record. Can hardly be taken as serious evidence. I never had anything to do. I can try the ticket, because, like, honestly, that's the only other thing I can think of. Did Gina have this one? This was Gina's ticket. Matilda's case notes. Conviction was shared with 3 eyewitness testimonies. However, a surprise 4th witness's testimony resulted in acquittal due to insufficient evidence. Autopsy report. I'm gonna use the ticket.
Objection!
Shit, I was wrong. Okay. Just for kicks and shiggles, because I know it's done this before. Some statements before in the past, I think it was in one of the cases before, they needed you to press the statements twice. So if I press all of the statements again, I wonder if I will get a different result. So I'm gonna skip through the dialogue, but I'm gonna press it.
Hold it!
Press them on stuff.
Objection! Hold it! Hold it!
So, okay. I'm trying to see if anybody else, like,
Objection!
lets up on it. These are all the same. It keeps skipping them. Waving around a lot.
Hold it!
Oh, it won't let me skip, which means this is new-ish? Don't forget, sir, that Mr. Herlock Sholmes is the most famous, or did I not press this one? Did I forget to press this one? Whatever. Don't forget, sir, that Mr. Herlock Sholmes is the most famous detective in the world. And the most famous detective in the world tells the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Well, oh no, I can't think of how to answer that. I once saw the world's most famous swindler thrown into jail. He allegedly told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but what turned out to be a pack of lies. Quiet. Now, as you are no doubt aware, the Central Communications Station is the heart of this country's information network. My work there is of paramount importance, and you have kept me from it for long enough already.
Hold it!
I'm gonna press one more time.
Objection! Is that right? Excuse me!
Are we still gonna push him on this? See, I knew we had. See, I knew this was a good strategy. I knew that we needed to press him again on these things. It's kind of weird how that happens. Anyway, do you have something to add, Inspector? Come again, sunshine? Wait, no, this is. Wait, this is still the same. We're doing this again? Wait, I thought this was different. Then why did it... Trying to avoid testimony about what happened. Okay. I'm looking through the court record again. It wasn't the ticket. Okay, so autopsy report. This was coroner. Single bullet. So the third bullet, maybe? Hmm. I don't know. This is tough. This is the only thing that references directly to Scotland Yard. This is a tough one. The occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. Are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the night of the murder? I've never had anything to do with... This has to be the statement. And the piece of evidence is... It wasn't the ticket, because I tried that already. Or was it this ticket? Was it this ticket? I'll try the other one.
Objection!
Fuck! I'm just guessing at this point. I've never had anything to do with... The only other, I mean, maybe the newspaper, because he works for the communications thing and there's that whole controversy going on where, like, people...
Objection!
Oh, damn it! This is not great. There are no other signs of trauma. Oh my god. I'm like tempted to just start guessing wildly, but...
Objection!
Ugh. Mr. Graydon, we have made a very clear analysis here, and among the blood samples in this portfolio is one that matches your blood exactly. Well, they're not going to allow this. And my learned friend is free to analyze the evidence in any way he sees fit, but the court is free to disregard the results. Meaning, as I have said many times already, this detective's placing is no sway in the courtroom, and his lordship has ruled accordingly on the matter. Right. This will not do, Counsel. The jury will disregard this so-called evidence. Mr. Graydon, please continue with your testimony. So he was definitely there at the scene that night. I'll just have to find another way of proving it. The bullet? Like... I wonder if it's like his hat hidden in the background. Is this like an I Spy game? Is that his favorite skull cup or something? That Jesus, like I'm like at a loss. I don't want to just guess. prove he was there.
Objection.
Ugh. Fuck. I want to save and reload, but I also kind of feel like that's cheap. It wasn't the tickets. I can't use the blood. It wasn't the paper. And it wasn't the bullet. Ah!
Objection.
Oh, thank God, I guessed correctly. It was my last guess. That was the last. I was like, it has to be the music box, right? Oh my God. Oh, that was okay. That wasn't great. That's not my shining moment, but it's fine. Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? This disc was until the day of his murder in pawn in Mr. Windibank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared to try and take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course. Wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? As I've reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there is a small smear of blood on the disc. Ah, yes, resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps? That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. In the skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of this smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch. Oh, good gracious, indeed it must! Mr. Graydon? You refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. He's wearing gloves. He was wearing gloves now. Also, don't trust people wearing gloves. They're shady. Just kidding. Sort of. Well. It would seem I underestimated you. What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now. You admit you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant. Order! Order! Well, Mr. Graydon. It would appear there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc, as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item that you own out of pawn? What? It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence, my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. Though I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. What a joke. What a jokewad! There's a note on the disc saying, "Former gilded," but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy Gatling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGildy, you say, the famous London philanthropist, who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder. Yes, my lord, the one and the same.
Good lord, Mr. Graydon. Are you saying that Miss McGilton and yourself were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Order? Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGilton himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windibanks.
It's funny that Mr. Grayton here is claiming the disc belongs to him then, isn't it?
In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at Windibanks in order to get his hands on McGilden's disc for some reason.
Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please.
Let's do it. Let's cross-examine this asshole.
Hold it!
Hold it. Would you care to explain how this belongs to you?
As you will observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I've little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand, which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question.
You claim that was your overcoat.
Obviously. And in my haste, I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. And yet there is a note on it that reads, "For McGilded." I'm a collector of rare and unusual music box music. I first met Mr. McGilded at a gentleman's club in the city and was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. So the disc in question, it's a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilded hear it. But then you forgot that it was in the pocket of the overcoat you were forced to pawn. Yes, exactly.
Gina didn't mention any of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she?
No, because McGilded had threatened her to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury. Ah, shit, dude.
Oh dear, this is complicated, isn't it?
Let's leave it alone for the time being.
Hold it!
So you're saying that Miss Lestrade lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag?
That's right, despite being mindful of danger when walking in the insalubrious areas her kind frequent.
Objection!
Miss Lestrade did no such thing.
Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender.
You came to the pawnbrokery that day prepared with all the information you needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windibanks. To get your hands on McGilded's disc.
Objection!
My learned friend is a veritable font of nonsense.
Sorry, I have to keep adjusting because it's like... Nonsense?
I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear?
Yes, my lord.
Then I will continue with my testimony for what possible use it can be.
I've proceeded at once to the shop. Let's press that. Had you ever been to Windibanks before?
Only once for the purposes of pawning something. But like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. So then you notice that the pickpocket had taken your ticket you chased after her, is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first, of course. Such is the art of a pick purse. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbrokery at once in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could. I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place.
He can say what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this.
In the end, of course.
Hold it!
Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it?
That's right. This was a very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has a connection to
that
Mr.
right?
McGill as evidence.
Excuse me.
Ooh, he brought up the kappas. The kappas. Is something wrong, Inspector?
Oh, well,
What do you mean?
the last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way.
No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone.
Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilden's possessions?
I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine.
What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets?
Yes, exactly. You should know all about that.
Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet he had a dark side too.
Where are you going with this, Van Zeeks?
I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they?
That's enough. Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know.
Duties conferred by the Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector.
The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw print first.
What's all this about?
It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Van Zeeks here. Very sus.
Well, it would appear that the Inspector has revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony. Gladly, my lord.
Hold it!
But perhaps you'd seen something of value among the forfeited items.
No, not at all.
Oh?
A valuer was brought in by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article on the shelves was common or garden bric-a-brac.
Bric-a-brac. Bric-a-brac. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGilden's disc.
Have you not been listening, man? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. I was no more in the shop that night than It was no more in the shop that night than as I kept saying, I simply had no reason to break in.
So there was nothing of McGilden's left in the shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. I wonder if that's really true.
Bruno, if you have some evidence, then let him have it. I'm dying to see that irritatingly assured expression of his crumble.
McGilden slipped the disc into his coat pocket and had it deposited in Winnebank's. Then when he realized he was going to be arrested on suspicion of the omnibus murder, he threatened Gina and forced her to take the redemption. Excuse me.
There's no doubt about it. That witness is lying through his pearly white teeth.
The police were obviously after anything left behind by McGilden as well. That's why Inspector Gregson ended up taking the disc into custody that day.
But Gregsy being very strange about all this.
There must be a reason for that, I'm sure. I just don't know what it is. For now, I need to focus on exposing the fact that Mr. Graydon is lying in his testimony. He had no reason to break into the shop? See... I don't even have a chance to really guess at this one because I only have one penalty left. I guess the box.
Objection!
Okay, wow, I'm glad that I was right. This disc was deposited at Winterbanks on Magnus McGilden's instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection!
Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbrokery again that night.
Objection!
Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGilden had another article in Pawn at Windibanks, as this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. Oh, he getting uncomfy now. There were 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilden in Windibanks Pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers.
This is the second ticket, is it?
What had the man deposited? The article description reads, 1 small box.
A rather vague description, it seems to me.
Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did.
This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft.
That's a good point.
Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument. So that means that for some reason, this graded fellow needed the small box that very night, does it?
Objection!
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord.
Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zeeks?
I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windibanks Pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it.
What? Oh, good gracious!
Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? I was gonna go back into the German accent, but this is Gregson. These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras.
Oh, Hurley's red-handed recorders again.
As previously explained, using this plan as a shop layout. The victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Vanderbank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which articles were placed for sale once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, McGilden's small box had been forfeited already, 2 days before the incident at 9 p.m. on the 13th of April to be precise, which means it would have been on the shelves of forfeited items in the shop front. Now, what I have here is the print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's at 11 p.m. on the 15th of April.
The victim certainly had a very full shop, it would appear.
And then here we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident.
I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare.
Oh boy. Oh my god, wait, I can't see a difference. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is so subtle. That is so tiny and subtle. Do you guys see it? Can I show my cursor? I don't think I can show my cursor. If you look, it's like the bottommost right shelf in those little cubes. The bottommost right, it's right above the drawers at the bottom. It's kind of middle right, next to that, like, that's not the radio, is it? That's the, riding in a Fiat, you really love to see it, 6 feet 2 in a cup. I love that freaking rap so much. Sorry, Cool Beans, I'm like freaking out, because the difference between these pictures is so tiny and subtle, but I saw it. There's a black-ish, brownish box in the bottom right cubicle thingy shelf, and it's just moved to the right just slightly. On the left one, it's like flush against whatever little thing it's sitting next to, and the other one, it's moved further to the right, which is like, How are you supposed to see something like that? So subtle. But it's there.
Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache.
There must be a ghost. It has to be. It's a polter. I think we have a polter. Take a picture. We have an interaction. Oh, man, I need to get back into playing more Phasmo. I miss it. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we consider theft as one possible motive in this case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life.
So your admittive already compared these two prints thoroughly, Inspector.
Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these two photographic prints. And the Yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. Yes, that's true. Nothing is missing, but something moved.
In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbroker on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy.
Don't give up, Naruhodo! There's still, if I could have just shown that he'd stolen McGilden's pawn box. I might have been able to break him down at last.
You know what, Rudo? I've been thinking. I wonder if these two photographs really are exactly the same.
They're not. I'm like, now that I see it, I can't unsee it. He just Gangnam styled on us. Yeah, he's what's the word? Exuberant?
So, counsel, in the light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position?
It seems that, in fact, on the night in question, today was dope. Tell me about it. Tell me about your dope day.
Do you accept the prosecution's assertion?
I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these two photographic prints somewhere? Yes! Point out a discrepancy. I wasn't sure at first, but there is a clear discrepancy between these two prints. Oh, I'm like chomping at the bit right now because I can see it.
What? You must identify the location in question for the court, counsel.
Indicate... Oh, Caro's online. Hi, Caro.
Indicate the precise location of the discrepancy of which you speak.
It's right
Take
here.
that!
Yeah! I got it right. The music stopped. New gig bag for my acoustic guitar. Ran into the lady who... she wants me. Nice, nice. I got the Lego Infinity Gauntlet. Nice. Lifted. Always good to get some exercise. Hell yeah. That sounds like an awesome day. I'm happy for you. Korean food sounds so good. I love some Korean barbecue. Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them. Oh, what? My day was okay. It was kind of a chill day. Just kind of worked from home a little bit and hung out with my cat, snuggled. I did some walking today, so I got outside and yeah, just pretty decent day. My mom made homemade hamburgers for dinner. DB Bop. I think I've been to a place with some of that. I do like Bim Bam Bop, if that's the same thing or I don't know. But there's a few different Korean barbecue places around me. When you view the two pictures stereoscopically, a single area stands out as being different. The location of this small box. Let me fit. Unbelievable.
But Jove, you're right. How extraordinary.
What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilden's small box was indeed not stolen from Windibanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves.
Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGilden is in fact...
Yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints.
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was?
Sword box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen. Which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true, but Alright, McGilded's box wasn't stolen then. But doesn't the fact that it was moved like that change things? It changes everything! I think. It changes everything! I believe this changes everything about the case. How can that possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box. What are you suggesting? So the box wasn't stolen, but what was inside the box was stolen. I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Winterbanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial.
The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zeeks. Ooh! Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once.
Take that, Van Zeeks. The court does not uphold your objection.
Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination.
Oh, we staring down now. He's so mad. I wish the court would uphold me for real. What does that mean? What is that supposed to mean, Corbin?
We should have a report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth.
To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing.
I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zeeks.
This is nothing but a smokescreen. But no, ooh, that's really racist. Ooh. What are you trying to say? Yeah! Oh, you want to say that's about face, bitch? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning. That this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place.
Exactly! It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property.
If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago immediately after the conclusion of the trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established he was the upstanding member of society whose reputation implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense. Oh, that's a deep cut. The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one of its pockets and a small box. I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. What an asshole.
You know, that does make a rather lot of sense. It's not as if it was gold or jewels, is it? Though, goodness knows, Mr. McGilded was rich enough. But you can't deposit cash in a pawnbrokery, I'm quite certain of that. The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling.
It is incumbent of the defense now to bolster its argument. Into the fire. To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have.
Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in any tangible way related to this case?
Well, I keep my little doodads in there.
I keep my little knickknacks in there. What's the matter, Bruno? We know that they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence.
Yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know McGilded's true character, and we know the disc is significant even if we don't know why. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that McGilded's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense's argument was flawed, based on false information.
Oh no!
And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury.
But Ginny...
Could it be that Van Zieks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he's anticipated everything?
But maybe this could be a great opportunity for us.
Sorry, what do you mean, Iris? Perjury is better than murder. But it's still illegal. And it means you lied. So, not great for establishing some ethos there.
Well, what is it that you always say, Runo? Sooner or later, the truth comes out, every time.
Alright, the exact significance of the things that McGilda deposited with Mr. Windibank is something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? I'm gonna say have Gina testify, because perjury is not as bad as murder. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal.
Oh, what proposal, counsel?
While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGilden's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand.
The defendant? To what end?
It's to do with the various articles deposited at Windibanks by Mr. McGilden, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. Excuse me. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all.
Well, things are becoming interesting.
I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. Me and the boys flagrantly abusing the Fifth Amendment. Wait, wouldn't that mean you don't testify? In particular, the impact it would have on the accused standing and indeed your own. I have. Cause here's the thing, pleading the fifth, like, it means you're admitting guilt. But I guess she really is guilty, so that would be, like, good, but... Oh, who am I kidding? I don't know enough about law. Lord Van Zieks. That's totally not a British accent. Lord Van Zieks, would you care to explain that last remark? He knows. The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. He knows. He knows. He knows. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself. It's not technically the same thing, but like in the eyes of people, like the psychology of it, it is. Because pleading the fifth, a good prosecutor can make you say anything. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But like pleading the fifth means you don't want to admit anything that would... Pleading your case because you know it would make you sound guilty. Because you know it would make you guilty. Like, I'm not explaining it very well because I'm not a lawyer. But you're right. A good prosecutor can seriously... It's kind of fucked up. So the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. You witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further... Use my training. Yeah, my training. I've got a... how are you gonna pass the bar? I've played Ace Attorney. I've got this. I've played Ace Attorney and I've seen Legally Blonde several times. Got this in the bag.
Then I shall bid you good day.
Vet. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Mrs. Lestrade testifies.
Ooh.
As you wish. Alright then, Gina. It's time. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here.
Good luck, Runo.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I love Gina. She's probably another one of my favorite characters. The articles that Mr. McGilden had deposited in Windibank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago.
Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well.
That's right, my lord. In Virginia, anyone who passes the bar can be a lawyer. Is that not true? You didn't pass the bar. This isn't Virginia. Are you referencing something? Because is it... oh my god, I feel like I'm missing something, and I feel really bad. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGill did.
The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now here we are. We all are again, the same players and that child facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend.
Deep breath, Runo. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGill did. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder, because he did it. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged, that the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body being dropped down through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. By the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. I can't remember what movie. I probably haven't seen it. I'm not very good with movies. Then immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of murder, Mr. McGill had died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. As indeed does the omnibus murder itself.
Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor this small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings.
Miss Lestrade, would you tell the court now, please? What really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago, I mean?
I know what you mean. I already said all of what all of what I know.
And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade. This is extremely important.
But remember, little girl, if that transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Also, let's face facts. You have little credibility to lose.
This poor girl is 17. Like, I just want to say that. This poor girl is 17, and she's been through a lot. This game has put her through a lot.
Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Runo now. We're on your side. All right then.
Oh, talk. It's the right choice, Gina.
Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilden's pawned articles in that extraordinary case of the omnibus harbour secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements.
This is it, then. Everything's going to come out. Like Van Zeek said. This could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears. But as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. Alright, Gina. Give us the truth. The whole truth. Nothing but the truth!
Truth is that Brickmaker Cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head, and that pair on the roof deck went off to call the oh my god, the slops. That's when McGill just slipped the driver some tin to do a run on the pawn shop roundabout. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Didn't see nothing. Not nobody, not no how. Good grief, this is outrageous. What you've just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord. Then there's every chance I may have adjudicated an error in Mr. McGilda's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court, in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial of this witness and my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. Ooh, that's a deep cut, and it's true. Oh. Yikes. Man, they managed to pack this into a game. This is just like when Phoenix Wright was disbarred. He was forced to present false evidence and fucking lost his badge. That day in that can't possibly be his. Well, okay, it wasn't technically Phoenix's fault when he did that. But it also technically wasn't Naruhodo's fault that because he was just like, here, defend this guy. He had there was no error, there was no time for discovery or like, you know, he didn't get a choice. And as far as he knew, like, the evidence, it's kind of like him, he presented false evidence too unknowingly, so. Man, they managed to, wow. Things move in cycles. He really is the ancestor of Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright descended to be disbarred. Although, hopefully, well, I guess Naruhodo never really, there wasn't a bar exam, so you can't be disbarred. Anyway. Naruhodo fucks. Yeah, he does. Confirmed.
Don't forget that lawyer from the east. They were all in it all together.
The gallery.
You're wrong, the lawyer. Mr. Naruhodo, the lawyer there. He didn't know nothing about it.
Humbug.
I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that? He really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation to get the man off scot-free. Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop.
Yes. The defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of the Gilded Pond articles must be brought to light. Very fair, my learned student friend. Student friend, he's changed. Given the depths of calamity you have just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing.
Words fail me. The situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, my lord.
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
Of course, my lord.
Blimey, Miss Naruhodo. Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
All right. The real truth.
Hold it!
And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats.
Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all. Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claimed Mr. McGild was the sole passenger, did you not?
False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me I had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilded and the victim acquaintances?
I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot.
What were they talking about?
Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying. Perhaps business dealings of some kind. Well, anyway, they got louder and louder, and it started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe. And then all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone killing over the floor. It was blooming loud and all. And I believe you let out an involuntary scream.
Yeah, that's what gave me away. Yeah, because she just witnessed a murder.
Hold it!
Was the disc you saw this disc?
Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove line on the floor. Could
this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps? I don't know, but McGildy picked it up pretty smartish. And then he sat the cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat.
What did he say to you at that time?
He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared, the way he was looking at me. I thought, if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me a load of questions, like what my name was and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too.
But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed.
Yeah, that's right. First there was a kind of rapping noise.
Hold it!
There were 2 gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah, these 2 assholes.
They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled the horses and McGildy got me out of sight. Out of sight? Where? Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to a halt, the 2 coves from the roof ran off to fetch the slops. They immediately left to fetch the police. It would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident.
So that left McGildy, the driver, and you still at the scene.
Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside. The driver, yes, he also testified in the trial, I believe. A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves.
What did McGildy and the driver say to each other?
I don't know what happened, and stuff like that mainly.
Hold it!
That pawn shop obviously being Winterbanks on Baker Street.
Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well?
Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbroker slipped his mind, but he was understand.
Indeed, Lord Van Zeeks.
McGildy took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up all careful-like before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat ain't what's in it. That coat and what's in it got to be worth a few bob. Yes, Gina was sure the disc must be worth more than Mr. Winterbank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery.
The driver looked pretty happy when Mr. McGilty flashed some brass in his face. He went running off and had a lick. Then the bog trotter called me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin.
Hold it!
Threatened you how exactly?
Told me I'd only be able to scarper if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago. Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said. Which was... He told me I have to hang on onto the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it. The ticket? Well, I never. Said that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in lug, to stop it from being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it. But really, why on earth would Mr. McGillis have done such a thing? Depositing his own overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police? It makes no sense at all.
There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGilden had the driver deposit at Winterbanks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs.
Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I legged it before the coppers showed up.
Well done, Gina. It can't have been easy to tell the truth like that.
Ginny's really put her faith in you, Rudo.
Yes, and thanks to her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial's over. So I need to use this time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible.
It's time to really go for it. Press her on every statement.
I suppose I should.
Oh, and another thing.
What's that?
Take a look at those two. Isn't it strange that they've been whispering to each other the entire time?
Yes, that is strange. It looks like they're having a secret discussion about something.
Suspicious.
I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with that, but I wonder if there's anything I can do about it. I'd take a quick break, guys. I need to, like, adjust, so I will be right back. We will get to the secret conversation in just a moment.
Hold it!
Alrighty, thank you guys for letting me do that real quick. Just needed to adjust the wig and everything. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, and you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment, we already went through this. Oh, we're pressing again. Right. So, let's press her again and see if we get a different answer. It didn't work last time, but I feel like it might actually... Wait. Oh, Midna. Hello. Can you move, please?
No, you cannot sit in my lap right now. Sorry. Wee.
It's hard to have her, like, oh goodness, in my lap when I... I wonder if I should... I wonder if I should get it when they're talking about the disc. So what statement is about the disc? Oh, that's the disc.
Hold it!
Let's talk about the disc. I'll say we're... Let's talk about the mail. What mail? Talk about the mail, I guess. I'm confused, but go ahead. Gosh, I don't know exactly what... Pepe Sylvia. Is this another movie reference that I'm not getting? The whole box. I'm very confused. I'm very confused, Cool Beans. Oh, this is Always Sunny. Oh! I haven't seen that show, but I keep seeing like references to it. I've heard it's a good show.
Hold it!
I'm gonna press her on the statement about the disc again, and then when she's talking about the disc.
Excuse me.
What is happening? Why are they... Inspector Mr. Graydon. But you can't try to give me a heart attack? You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? A discussion with this fella? Pull the other one, Sunshine. You think I've got anything to talk about with a shady gent like this?
I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine.
But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating. Pretty sus. Pretty sus.
Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe now we have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus.
It would appear on that night once ago, a negotiation was taking place in the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc, however, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilden took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way. Although I don't understand why as yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilden's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited. I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the coat died right after his trial, I knew that. So you decided to try to claim the articles as your own. Well, why not, eh? They were only going to be forfeited, why shouldn't I have gone? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it, thinking that ain't no crime. Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGilden was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably going to sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime. My lord! The evidence your lordship requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir. Oh boy, the box. The box is here. The mysterious little box deposited by McGilden 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. To be continued right now. But I'm gonna save, because it's good to save. Save your progress. I'm just gonna write over the first one. And the second one. Just be safe. Because I don't want any corrupted save files ever. Knock on wood. The box. It's a nice box. So this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilden 2 months ago. And on the night of Mr. Winterbank's murder, the only item in the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop.
Quick, quick! Let's open it and see what's inside.
It's a music box.
Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems.
Wow, although in truth I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music
I can't speak. Music box movement. Then is it too much to expect?
I think it would be reasonable to assume that the device is for a playback of this disc, my lord.
So, here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilden's disc deposited at Winterbank's at much the same time.
Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilden's disc. It was the disc of his victim on the omnibus.
But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell his music box disc to Mr. McGilden?
It was the first recorded Weezer song. The one that was lost to time. And shows up in a... There you go. Everybody else can go home. Cool Beans has solved the mystery. I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord.
Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc at last.
Hold it!
Oh, who's... Oh, wait, my lord!
Oh, good grief. What is the meaning of this, Inspector? God damn it, Inspector. Quit cockblocking me. I want to hear the disc. The music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music.
Objection!
I believe the answer will become clear when we note that the prosecutor looks just like my buddy Holly, and the defendant Mary Tyler Moore. This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection.
But no, that piece of evidence is police property now. Clearly Scotland Yard has some vested interest here.
But it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored, and you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. Why is he so up in arms?
No further delays, please. Play the disc.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. 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 Please no. Please not this. Please no. Please no. Please no. Please no. Oh my god, is it Morse code? Ah! I am so bad. I don't think y'all understand. I am so bad at Morse code. It is in every single freaking video game. I swear to God, it is in every single one of these puzzle games or mystery games or visual novels or whatever you want me to call them. Aaron, it's in every single one as some sort of code, some sort of encryption, some sort of fun puzzle tactic. It's always here. And I am so bad at it, okay? I'm so bad at it. I do not process audio all that well. I struggle with this so bad. Even with a key and a chart and help and a guide, it is so fucking difficult. Please do not let this be Morse code because I will have to look it up. I will never figure this out. I'm so bad. It's like, I don't know. It's like my mythical rival or something. I've never been able to just solve a Morse code thing on my own. I've had to look it up. I'm so bad at discerning what is a dot and a dash. It's damn near impossible for me. It's gonna be fucking Morse code. I can't. No.
That's certainly not what I would call music.
No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence. Almost as like a sequence of dots and dashes. You just don't understand Weezer, Your Honor. You probably never heard it before, but like it's just like this really indie kind of sound. Oh no, now this asshole's laughing.
Mr. Graydon. This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken.
Broken? It can't be, can it? I know it's not broken, and I kind of wish it was, because I know it's gonna end up being some fucking Morse code thing.
Well, obviously, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it and drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I fear the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel?
Come on, It's gonna be Morse code. It's not broken. Could this music emanating from the music box possibly be a new clue? Yes, it could. And maybe, fingers crossed that they just make the lady who's like running the... That's what I was just about to say, Cool Beans. Like maybe the Morse code lady will just read it for us or whatever, and I don't have to fucking Google a chart or some shit. Same brain. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord.
Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel, mere noise. I fail to see how it could have any meaning whatsoever.
Isn't all language mere noise if you really think about it? It does sound strange, I agree, but there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, The inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh, just fun. Oh, hi, Gabe. How are you? Welcome in. Oh, thank you for the host. Just what relevance do you propose this woeful charming has on the case? Oh, Lord. It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from the music box is not supposed to be music. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I... Oh my gosh!
Doing okay. Could be better. How about yourself? You look very nice in that cosplay. Breeze the one love.
Aw, thank you, Gabe. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate it. I'm sorry that you're not doing super great and could be better, but maybe this will make it better. I'm doing pretty well. I'm just playing one of my favorite games, and I'm chilling in my favorite character's cosplay and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Although oh yes, hydrate. Okay, so guys, I have a new thing with hydrate. Thank you, Gabe. You should listen to some Weezer. So, okay. I have a thing for hydrate now. My friend has she told me about this thing that she was doing where she's like, I just set a timer for 30 seconds, and within that 30 seconds, I have to drink water. I don't have to drink it, I don't have to gulp it, I don't have to like chug it. But like just comfortably drink water for 30 seconds. And so it's just 30 seconds you take for hydration. So I want you all to join me on this. Well, if you want to, you don't have to. And I'm putting a timer up right at my giant water bottle, as you guys can see. I'm putting a timer up on the screen right now, and we're gonna drink water together. Where'd it go? There it is, at the top. Drink responsibly, Cool Beans. Drink responsibly. Don't chug that. I mean, unless you don't have anything to do tomorrow. This is intense hydration music, too. Yay, hydration! We did it! Thank you, Gabe, for letting me use my new timer thing. I just put that on there, so I was really hoping someone would use it, so thank you. Good hydration. And you know what? If you are imbibing a little today, don't die! Please don't die, Cool Beans! I told you to drink responsibly. I cannot be held responsible for that. You are your own responsibility. Drink some water afterwards. Chase it. Balance it out. Anyway,
Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runo.
Objection!
the sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us that they are not. I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are, to enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, have you heard of this thing that is the bane of Bree's existence? It's a, an auditory language only, basically, and, it is impossible for her to discern. Surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your informed argument. Exactly! This music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They've got me. I don't know what the answer is yet.
Bruno, I've just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all.
Really?
Really,
The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway.
Thank you, Iris. That's a shitty music box, though. I don't know if that first note is a dot or a dash. I really don't. Please tell me that it's just the lady in the jury will tell us the answer, because I really... Oof. Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. Is it... Could it be? Is that what these sounds are?
Something's just struck me, Bruno. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like this one, the one that this music box makes.
Perhaps by someone on the jury. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, Hansel?
All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now.
The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest vile speculation.
Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get. Oh my gosh. This. I can read, I swear to God. It just takes me a second, apparently. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, I'm... Oh my God. My brain is just moving so much faster. And if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds on this music box disc is... Didn't this say something about... like a mile an hour? So yours is moving very, very leisurely. Facial story, ministry mole. For a 10-year-old... Secret communications intercepted. How would somebody do that? That's the question, isn't it? I mean, I'm tempted to just use that. I might as well. Here I go.
Take that!
Oh, okay, it was right. Thank God.
Today's paper council. The headline is Pawnbroker perishes in Pickpost plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause.
No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page.
Further down. Ministry mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand.
I have heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams? Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Your input, please, ma'am. Please, I beg of you. Take care of this for me. I can't do it alone.
Me, sir. Whatever is the matter?
You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not?
Yes, that's correct.
And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports.
Oh yes, we're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important.
Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound?
You don't mean to say, is it?
That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code! Alright, it's been a good stream, y'all. I fucking hate Morse code! Ugh! I'm not leaving. I'll be here. But God! I hate Morse code so much.
I don't believe it!
Me either. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Oh, are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Can somebody just tell me what they are?
Order! Order, please, everyone, order! But this is high treason, council, deserving of capital punishment.
Oh, damn.
Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason? And what is capital punishment?
The sorts of words I'd half expect you to know.
For our sovereign government's confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price.
Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus.
But in the end, McGill perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed upon broccoli. My word!
In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry. Because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country,
it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death.
So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. And in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands.
Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon?
Oh, we got him on the ropes now.
You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous! Absolutely preposterous! So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do! I've had to stand here in silence while a pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies. In response to the accusations brought by the defense.
Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank. That being a most flagitious?
Yeah, I don't know why he needed to make it racist. He's weird as fuck. Flagitious. Is that really how you say that? Flagitious. Flagitious? I'm very curious how you pronounce that word. I'm gonna have to look it up. I learned so many words from this game. Flagitious. Flagitious. Adjective. A person or their actions. Criminal. Villainous. Flagitious. I'm learning so much.
That being a most flagitious offence for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed.
Hold it!
Oh.
What? You gotta let us have a rabbit and pork here, Governor. We got things to say. I beg your pardon. Who do you think you are? Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland. That's right. We're what they call...
Don't say gentlemen thieves.
the Three Skulkin Brothers.
Gregson. Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. Oh, shit, though. Wait a damn minute.
A mere communications officer could possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I've no relation to the man.
Look at all we done is break into the gaff the other night like what he told us to do. If we known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Oh my god. Now they're fighting over who's more of a... Oh my god. This has gotten out of hand. Yeah, even the judge is like, not even fixing his hair.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
One Mr. Do Governor, what's up?
Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of 3 in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here.
We did, Gov, we did! Oh boy.
Quieten down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these 2 ruffians are referring to.
You little rotter, getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight-up job. And what about the geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he? Oh, damn, they're selling him right on out. Singing like canaries. Nice to know who your friends are.
Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations.
Indeed.
Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it to the court record as evidence.
Cool. We still didn't figure out what it said. So, I don't know. I'm flying by the seat of my pants with that one penalty. Just that like last little penalty in the corner is staring me down.
Hold it!
So is this newspaper headline accurate? Government communications are being intercepted.
How could I possibly know?
What do you mean by that?
Any important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists. General members of staff at the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information.
Oh, wait, who's saying that? Oh, juror number 5.
We regular communication station officers aren't as lonely as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the ministry. And Mr. Graydon is the team leader.
That's fascinating. Well, she's selling you out too.
Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop.
Are you serious? Girl, get that sparkle out of your eye. Get that sparkle right out of your eye. This man is a criminal.
So you had access to the equipment used for these confidential communications, Mr. Graydon? Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. And in any case, all messages are sent in cipher. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something. Stop.
Criminally delicious. Oh, do you ship it? Do you ship Mr. Graydon with juror number 5? Wait, was she juror number 5 in the other one, or was she juror number 3 in a different one? We've never learned this woman's name.
Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with ministry technicians and the ministry communications team. He assists them in ensuring there are no errors in important international communications. And he's received the top prize at the cipher cracking convention 5 years in a row now.
That's fascinating. He's like, shut the fuck up.
Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop. Well, your idol would appreciate it if you kept your mouth shut.
She should really pick her idols more carefully. Thank you.
I tell you, the story's accusations are completely unfounded.
Hold it!
They aren't even Morse code, you say? They're not?
To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to that music box for even a few seconds. I don't know about that. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with.
Listen, it's fucking hard to learn, okay? It's really difficult. He looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance.
I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. No.
Oh, no. A lesson here in court? No. No.
Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones.
Tones, you say?
Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you construct letters. You sure do. Yep. I got that. Don't worry. I got that much. I know what it is. Can I read it? Kind of, if I have a guide. Can I write it? If I have a guide. Can I actually use it in its proper form? Not a fucking chance. Not a single solitary chance in hell. I am so... Okay! Oh my god, it's gonna make me fucking decipher it, isn't it? It's gonna make me do it. It's gonna make me figure this shit out. Oh my god. Okay.
But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tune, don't you?
But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But sounds no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. Is it not? Is it really? Really, I shouldn't be so surprised. Are you... Am I safe? Am I actually safe from the Morse code? Did I luck out, actually? What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in future. Ugh, stop. Nothing to say but stop.
Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it?
Iris?
I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slot in place so nicely.
Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box to somehow play back Morse code? Give it a try? There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in leaking of the government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to read Morse code, 2 tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what?
Well, it would appear the defense is a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to cipher secret messages into Morse code?
What is it, Rudo? I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well.
Ah, you're right. Oh, come on then, what are you waiting for? Let's open it.
Alright then, here goes.
Look at that, there's another movement on the other side.
So does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side?
Yes, I think so, and it looks like the two movements are linked together.
They're linked?
So if you had 2 discs, they would both play back at the same time.
I knew I wasn't safe. I knew I wasn't safe. I knew I wasn't safe.
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What?
It appears, my lord, that the 2 movements are linked together. In other words, you can put 2 discs in this music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time.
Good heavens!
As the chord is heard, Morse code comprises of 2 tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, the music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. It's still gonna be Morse code.
This is beyond a joke.
I'm sorry?
This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims.
So of course, if my learned friends were able to present the chord for the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as Witness has pointed out, It was not the one the omnibus was built 2 months ago, striking a deal over the disc or discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. Exactly! I had nothing whatsoever to do with it.
This isn't looking good.
Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe this cross-examination should continue.
The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere, but I haven't found it yet.
Oh dear, it looks like you need to give your argument more strength, Bruno. You will reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon. If I must, then I maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination.
I'm no relation to the man.
Hold it!
So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilded killed the brickmaker and stole the disc.
Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an artisan quarter some years ago, but people there remember little about him.
That doesn't make much sense, though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information?
How it did.
There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all of this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take it to the meeting with McGilded and negotiate a deal.
Dear me.
You may have an infamy, sir, but I assure you I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan quarter and this well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. So I should probably look in the court record.
You have nothing more to add on that note. Let us return to the witness testimony.
Hold it!
Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean?
That's it, yeah. Who else, eh?
Silly me thought he was just popping over for a nada after all of them years, but the Rada had a dodgy job for us. Hey, Ash. Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say. Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know? Sure, let's say Graydon's in old China. Oh?
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What, who, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when. Together with Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash. I mean, you look at him now in this fancy whistle and flute, and you wouldn't Adam and Eve it. But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of town, just like us. Is that so? But he was always a leery one. He had the brains. He had the savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. God blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run? That was a corker, eh? Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong.
Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please?
I don't know, could that sentimental story be relevant somehow?
Add it to the testimony!
My lord,
Yes, counsel.
the brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case.
Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Say no more, Skulkin's never skulkin'.
I guess that was the last statement. All of a sudden, we seem to be up to our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage.
It would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Jenny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago and the break-in at Winterbanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon on the omnibus, but Mr. McGill did.
No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker, who was so horribly murdered.
If only there was some link between the two men somehow.
I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the key to making headway with the cross-examination... Oh my gosh. Brain is moving so fast. Those could be those two brothers. Alright, let's press them on the, Well, actually... Let's press them on this. I don't think I pressed the statement yet. So did you know nothing about this music box?
We didn't know nothing. We still don't know nothing, and we ain't planning on knowing nothing about it either.
But 2 nights ago, you did indeed break into Windybank's pawnbrokery, did you not? In your original testimony, you said that the door of the shop was ajar, and that it was like some kind of sign begging you to go in. But the truth is, you were planning to break into Windybank's all along, weren't you?
We were, Gov, we were, you're right there. Cause that's what he told us to do, it was the plan.
Oh, he getting angry. And why was it Mr. Graydon's plan to break into Windybank's that night? Did you not ask the reason?
Well, he said the place was full of stuff worth nicking. That's what he told us beforehand, anyway. Turned out it was a load of cobblers, didn't it? I weren't best pleased, I can tell ya.
In any case, if they know the real reason, it doesn't sound like they're going to give it away.
Hold it!
And let's talk about Memory Lane a little bit. I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business?
Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals, that's what it was all about.
That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what? The business name. What's it a name? So this business was just a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved?
Yeah, that's it.
Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run, was it?
Yeah, that's it.
And where did the Milverton part come from?
Oh, right. I thought a clever clogs like you would have worked that one out. That is... Oh, boy. Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this dribble?
Everybody cutting everybody off. Let me guess, you don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is it that it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject?
Because well... It weren't the happiest of homes that we came from. Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much his wife walked out on him. She took the name Graydon then, see? But Ash will always be Milverton to us.
Ooh, Milverton. Wait a damn minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Mason Milverton. Boom! It was his dad. Oh God. Yikes. His dad is dead. His dad was murdered. Oh boy. Okay, that's not... But we got him. That's the clue. Milverton. So that used to be your surname, did it?
Of course not. This is all bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves, You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon.
Oh boy.
Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable, for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then.
Wow, he's, okay. Ashley Milverton, Ashley Graydon, Eggert Benedict. This man has a lot of aliases.
Very well, yes.
So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things, and could turn out to be extremely important, as we do well know. Ashley Graydon's personal... He's only a year older than me. Damn. Alright. There's a link. There's definitely a link. I've no relation to the man. That's not true. He is your father. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court?
Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me.
No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name.
Explain yourself, please, counsel.
I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. And as we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with McGilded.
Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
That's right. Only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton.
Milverton? Do you mean to say?
Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father?
I don't.
As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you joined the civil service. And it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to McGilded in collaboration with your father. I knew his freak out would be good. Look at that spin. That was fabulous. That was a fabulous spin. The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth.
The truth, you say?
That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. Wait a minute. No. Okay, no. McGilded killed him. I thought for a second maybe that... Because I remember there being initials on the knife, and I was thinking that maybe he killed his own father. But, no. McGilded definitely killed him. Anyway, moving on.
By dint of this music box, you mean, counsel?
Yes, stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands.
And a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever.
But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, you appeared at Windibank's 2 days ago, in an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. this time determined to recover the second disc.
Ah, are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box?
We never knew nothing about that. On the night that Mr. Windibank was killed, it's all coming together. The intruder into the pawnbrokery touched one item and one item alone, the music box.
As rather ingeniously demonstrated using the two prints from the security camera, indeed.
So, the question that naturally begs answering is this. Why was the only one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago?
I refuse to accept any of this nonsense.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. No, I'm just kidding. There appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. Oh, damn.
What?
Oh. 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windibank's pawnbrokery. This is where it really comes together. One took the life of the pawnbroker himself. One struck the pouch around Mr. Sholm's waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm that you seem to be trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it? He's got you now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon. Jig is up, buddy boy.
Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember, and I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly I was a fool to think I could trust some common back-slum thieves.
Oh boy. It's all coming out.
Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windibanks that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me, and as you notice, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I recall nothing of the sort.
He's not going to go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact. Which is... Well, we know that 1 bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun hit the pouch around Mr. Sholmes'. I was gonna say, the gallery of this case is probably like, holy shit, I'm so glad I came to court today. And the bullet from Mr. Windibank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm.
Indeed, it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself.
And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windibank was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by the 3rd intruder.
Goodness!
That's right, Mr. Graydon. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank that night is you.
Hold it!
Really? Really? We're gonna do this right now? Oh, what's he... You little upstart! You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What is that supposed to be? Oh, I just got chills. Oh my god, what?
Yes, so rightly, sir, was that of the pawnbrokers. I did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I'd built for myself at the communication station. But did the thought never cross your mind? Did you never consider the possibility?
What do you mean? What thought? What possibility?
possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in this case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What? Oh, are you suggesting? I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at that poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. No, you didn't. You shot him. You did. No. Hold on. Order. Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial. Mr. Grayton. Yes. I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it is shown that your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as a killer. I understand fully. Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. And I think we will save his testimony for another time, because I have to get ready to go to bed early because I have to work tomorrow, and that sucks because I really would rather just be here playing Ace Attorney. But I'm going to pop a little save for my records here. Save it into the court record. I'm going to save over 1, and I'm going to save over 2 again. I know, I'm not even really that tired. It's just I have to get up extra early because I actually have to go into office, and it sucks, but it is what it is. So I think I'm gonna end it here, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys, but thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for letting me cosplay my favorite Ace Attorney character, Miss Mia Fey. Thank you, Cool Beans. Hopefully I will have a good day at work, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. I'll be streaming again on Wednesday. I'm going to be working on that picture of Navi the fairy that I was drawing last time. Hopefully finishing that up, or at least, if not finishing it up, getting pretty close. And then I'll also be streaming again on Friday, playing some more Pokemans, which I'm excited to play more of. So it's going to be good. I think I'm gonna, let's see who's live right now. Oh, Gaines is playing Death's Door one more time. Who else? Let's see. Is Bree streaming? I don't think so. We'll raid Gaines. And watch them play some Death's Door. But I will see you guys next time. I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Stay hydrated, and yeah.